Hi everyone, thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Mark and I'm here with Randy and we're going to take you through the online registration tools from leagueathletics.com. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. If you are on your computer right now and you're looking at your screen, you should have a go-to meeting panel in the top right corner. To close that, go ahead and just click that red arrow to the right and that'll close that. And then also, if you want to ask some questions, go ahead and open it back up, and you can just type those questions in that box down below. And what we'll do is we'll go through the registration presentation, and then at the end of the presentation, we'll be able to answer those questions and demo some of those items for you. Okay, so right now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a poll up on the screen. So if you go ahead and answer that poll, that'll give us an idea of what kind of experience the users have that are joining the session right now. Okay, looks like about 80% have voted. Just give it a couple more seconds there. Go ahead and click right on the screen there to vote. Okay, so looks like we got 90% in. I'm going to go ahead and close it and then display these results to you. So it looks like we've got some experienced users, but a couple of newbies here, so that's great. So we'll go through all of the foundation of the registration program and then show you some couple of advanced things that you can take home with you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch over to my demo site here and take you through the registration process. Okay, so once you have a registration launched on your website, you'll get a Register Now button that you can add to the right column. You'll also be presented with a registration page that you can populate on your site wherever you'd like. I've populated mine over here. Typically, groups will have them populated on the left-hand column as well. When members first come to your site, they're going to go to the Registration tab and click on Register Online, or they can click on that big orange button that you'll have populated on your site. Then they'll be presented with the online registration system page. And from here, you can have multiple registration models open. So currently, I have a 2012 skater registration. This could also be an age group that I had open, and then I could have multiple registrations down below this. At the top here, we have just some information that you can enter to direct your members or your registrants on how to register or things they may need to keep in mind while registering. So as I said here, I have my 2012 skater registration, which is the title. I have a description of my program here, and then I have some additional information down below, basically what the costs are, who can register for this program, what grades they might need to be in or which age they might need to be between, and then also how many people would have registered and how many positions might be available. So we'll go ahead and click Begin Registration to start. And this is going to ask me to continue, and only people that are 18 years of age or older can register for this program or register their children in this program. And then we'll be presented with a sign-in screen here. So if there's a new user to your system, they're going to be asked to enter their email address only and then click Sign In. What that'll do is return them a temporary password to their email. Then they can come back to this page, enter that password, and log in. Once they're logged in, they'll be able to update their password to anything that they'd like. If they're an existing user, they can similarly enter their email address only if they forgot their password, and their password will be returned. I have this set up for us, so I'm going to go ahead and log into my account here. And now once I've logged in here, it's going to be taking us to the family members page here. So this is going to say, okay, we're registering for the 2012 registration. Here are all the family members below, and then I can pick which family member I want to register in this program. You can see the parents are up top here. We have X's or circles with a cross through it next to our name, and then some children that are ineligible for the program. And if we mouse over one of these, it'll tell us why this person is ineligible. This one obviously is out of the age restrictions for this program. Then we have a child who is already registered in this program, Bobby here, and we can click on the icon next to this person's name to edit their registration information. And then we have another user down below who has a check mark next to their name. This means that we can go ahead and register this person in the program. Also, there's a couple additional things I just want to share with you about this page. If you see a calendar icon next to someone's name, that means you can go ahead and click on that and see their upcoming events for that person's team that they've been assigned to. And from that page, you can actually pick and choose their availability for those events, whether they'll be able to attend or not attend. And then also, if we have a family balance, we'll have that displayed down below, and then a Pay Now button to go ahead and check out and pay for that registration. But since we're going to be registering another person, we need to find them in the list here and click the check mark, or we can add another child and register them. But I'm going to go ahead and register testing here. Now this is going to present us with the participant information screen, where we're just going to enter all of their information. It's going to be pre-populated based on the parent's information, and we would need to fill out the first name and some additional information if this was a new child. But since I already had a record set up for this child, I just need to verify everything and then submit this form. So first name, last name, address, city, state, and zip. And then I can verify my phone number and enter a cell phone number if I'd like as well. And for those registrants that would like to receive text messages, they can also select their provider. Now, if they select their provider, they're going to be opting into text messages from your group. Those would be things like live schedule notifications or game reminders, or just a simple text message that you would send out from the database within your website. We can also enter our email address, enter our gender, date of birth, and our grade as well. Now, if you are requiring USA Hockey numbers or confirmation numbers, the member can go ahead and enter that here, and that will be verified and updated in their record. Down below here we have a remind option. This is where they can choose if they want to be reminded of upcoming games and practices for their child's schedule. And once we've got all that selected, we'll click Submit, and this will take us to another page where we have some additional questions to complete. Now, these would be supplemental questions that we would set up in our registration program before we launch the program. So these are custom questions, essentially, that we want to collect additional information from users. So you can see I've got a label up here just asking them to make sure they've completed everything. And then a number of different types of questions, things like text boxes to agreement and waivers to radio buttons and drop-downs. And you'll see that as I go through here. This would be an agreement text that I would have to agree to before I can continue. And then we have a question here that's asking me if I'd like to volunteer. I say I would, and then it's going to populate another question that I might have to answer. And then I have a radio button here that I can select. A radio button will allow me to select one option from a group of options. And then I can select a jersey size. And then there's also some additional input options here where you can upload a file. We can go ahead and upload a picture of the registrant. We can upload a birth certificate as well. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can populate this here really quickly with a picture. And then I can choose my team if this question is made available. And then also I have a coupon code option down below. So I'm going ahead and plug in my coupon code that I received. And we'll submit this information. Okay, so now we're presented with the registration review page. It's going to tell me which program I just registered for, what the cost for this program is. Looks like it's $90. The original cost was $100, but I had a late fee of $10 because I had registered after a certain date. but I had that $10 coupon that gave me $10 off. And then I also had a payment schedule set up. So this would allow me to pay a deposit now and then additional payments over time. So right now, $50 would be due, and then on the 1st of June, $40 would be due. So from here, I can go ahead and click Pay Now to check out for all of the people that I may owe fees for. I can go back, register another child in a different program or the same program, or I can send my payment into this address. Now down below we have some additional items that I entered here. This is just custom formatted text that I entered when I set up the registration program. This might tell somebody when the first practice is or things they need to keep in mind. And then if somebody needs to edit their registration from this page, they can certainly go down below and click these change options to go ahead and change some of that information. Okay, so at this point I'm going to turn it over to Randy, and he's going to show us the back end of the registration program and how we would have gone ahead and set that up. Hey, Randy, are you there?
There we go. How about that? Can you guys hear me now? All right.
Yep.
So while I was muted there, I apologize. I'd like to thank you, Mark, for running through the registration. And what I'm going to show everyone is the back office section of your League Athletics website, how you can control, create, and report on your registration. So the first thing I'm going to do is log in as an administrator. And from this section, you can go to the registration system, which is under the heading of members. The registration system section here is really your control hub for all things registration. From this area, you can add new registrations. You can select and edit existing registrations. You can also report on existing registrations as well. You can even assign teams right from this registration area. For our purposes, rather than adding a new registration from scratch, I'm going to take you through a registration that's already been created here and show you the various options that you have. So we're just going to select the skater registration, and we're going to click the Edit button here. Now notice that everything that you see here is really completely forms-based. You're creating this registration and you don't need to have any knowledge of HTML or any other programming language. You're creating this registration directly through our interface, and you're simply entering in information and setting parameters. So the first thing we would do is give the registration a title, which, as you can see here, has been named 2012 Skater Registration. And then you have various tabs that you can control your parameters on. So right under the General tab, the first thing you're going to see is that you can set this to be an individual member registration. You can set an open date. If you choose to charge a late fee, you can have a date that anybody who registers after that date is charged a fee to. Close date is the date that no one can sign on any longer. No one can register any longer for the registration program. We also have the ability to put the registration in test mode so that it is visible to you as an administrator for testing, but not visible to the rest of the general public. Invitation only mode is a great tool that you can use if you wanted to only allow registration to a certain group of people. For example, if you've had a tryout and now you want the people who have been accepted to register, You can check hidden or invitation only, enter their email addresses here, and then send them a link to the registration. By doing that, only the people whose email addresses you've entered will be able to register for the program. What we also see here is your USA Hockey registration confirmation numbers. You can choose to make it optional for the user, or you can choose to require it. When you do require it, the user must enter their USA Hockey confirmation number, and they will not be able to continue the registration process without that number. Once they enter that number in, we actually check to see if the confirmation number is a valid number, if it's properly formatted, and then we do query USA Hockey to make sure that that confirmation number indeed belongs to them. If everything checks out, they're able to continue on with registration. If not, we do provide them a link to directly to USA Hockey so that they can register or establish or renew their confirmation number. As we go through here, if you remember the Register Online page that Mark showed you, this is where you can enter a brief description of your registration, who the registration or what the registration is and who it's open to. Your qualifications is a key part to your registration because it's how you determine who's qualified to register for this program. You can set various qualifications such as gender, whether the members are or must be existing members or whether it's open only to new members. Most importantly, you can set an age or grade restriction on your registration program. For most of the hockey programs, I imagine you would be doing age restrictions, and you'd specify an oldest birthday and a youngest birthday. The registrants must fall between those two dates in order to qualify for the registration. Here you can also set some additional restrictions, such as zip codes that the registrant must reside in. You can also set a limit for your registration, after which the registration would be closed, or you can set it to accept a wait list after a certain number has been reached. From here, you can go to your costs category. This is where you can set your base cost, the late fee, if you are charging a late fee. You can also set multi-sibling discounts. If the registration is discounting for a second child, third child, or fourth or subsequent child. You can also set a family maximum. This would be the total that a family could pay. All of these settings are optional. If you don't have a family discount, you do not have to enter anything here. Same thing with the family maximum. Your payment tab would be how you would determine the payments or how someone can pay for your registration program. One of the options that we do have is the ability to set a payment schedule where you can specify that a certain amount is due at the time of registration and then create a payment schedule so that X amount is due on a certain date, another amount may be due on a further date in the future, and then the balance due on even a further date in the future. With the payment schedule, anyone who is not paid up to the point by the due date, or by 7 days prior to the due date, I should say, will automatically receive an email reminder letting them know that there is a payment that is due within 7 days. Also, within that email, there will be a link back to the website where the user can click and pay in our secure payment center. You can also enter an address where they can pay by check here as well. Going forward here, the confirmation area is where you can type additional text that will appear at the end of the registration after the registration has been submitted, and also appear on an email that is sent to the member to confirm their registration. As Mark mentioned, this might be an area where you'd like to type in some information about the first practice, if there's a mandatory players meeting or a parents meeting. It might even be something where you just say thank you for registering and we'll contact you soon. Our advanced category basically allows you to set up various registration categories. If you have several open registrations, for example, you may have registrations open for your league play, and then you may also have registrations open for clinics or camps. You may have registrations open for a rec portion of your program as well as a travel portion of your program. This would be a great way to section that off. When the user clicks on the Register Online page, if there are categories set, the first thing that they'll be asked is what category do they want to select from. Once they select the category, only the registrations within that category will be shown. Also from this page, you can choose what information is shown on the Register Online page, such as the late date and the late fee, the program base cost, number of currently open positions, or number of people who are currently registered, so people know how much space is left within the registration program. You can also choose if people are unpaid within the registration program on a certain date, or if they have not paid within a certain period of time, you can choose to delete them either on a specific date or after, say for example, 2 days of them submitting their registration. After you've set these parameters, you can then go on to create your supplemental questions. Your supplemental questions are custom questions for you. Automatically, with each one of our registrations, the system will gather basic contact information. It's what you saw Mark fill out in the participant information. That information includes the name, address, email address, date of birth, gender of the registrant. If there's a grade qualification, we will also capture grade. That information is captured for both the participant, and also similar information is captured for the guardian, assuming that the registration is a youth registration. The form that you're looking at here will allow you to create any additional information that you'd like to gather. You can very simply click our Add button right here, and now you have a list of question types that you can choose from. Again, you're creating this through our interface. No need for any additional HTML or programming language is necessary. You simply select the type of question that you'd like to ask. For example, if you wanted a text question, just select that, and now you can go forward and create your question, simply giving it a name, a prompt, and then determine how the response is handled. So very simply, I'm just going to create a simple text question for us. We'll call it emergency contact. Okay, and now we want that question to be required. We want it to be visible. We'll just go through here. Everything else is set. We want it to be free-form text. And I'll go ahead and click Continue. And now if I preview the form, you can see very simply down at the bottom, this is the question that I just created. Also from this screen, you can order your questions, so you can move it up the list. or move it down on the list. And then we'll just click Done. Also, from the initial registration system page, as I said, you can do some reporting from this screen. Once you have people who are registered in the program, the two main types of reports that you can create, one is called a list report, which is a simple on-screen report of who's registered, some basic contact information about them, when they registered, the cost of their registration, and the amount that they've paid here. Now, as you can see on this screen, we have a bunch of deadbeats because nobody's paid. If someone had paid electronically, you'd be able to see a credit card icon here and the amount that they paid. This is also a screen where you can enter a manual payment. So if someone handed you a check or sent a check in, I can select this little green icon here. I can enter the amount. I can enter the check number and go ahead and click Submit. And that person has been automatically updated as being paid. Also, from this area, you can create what we call a download report. The download report, by default, will take all of the data that's given during registration and put it into a spreadsheet that can be opened up with, in most cases, Microsoft Excel or whatever spreadsheet program you happen to have on your computer. As I said, by default, all of the registration data that's given, including the guardian information and all contact information, is included within this report. However, from this screen, you can very simply and easily create some ad hoc reports. For example, if you just wanted to have the player's first name, last name, and USA Hockey confirmation number, you can choose to remove everything else and only have that information show. You could even name that and save it so now it can be used for future reports. I'm just going to quickly run that report here so that you can see it. And right on the screen here, you'll see that we created this this very simple registration report that only contains the information that I requested here. Also from the screen, some various other tools that you can do. You can filter through, filter by a registered on date or registered date, updated dates, or dates that they paid on. You can enter a date range right through here, and the system will filter only those people who meet those requirements that are specified. Also, another very simple tool that you can use from this area is assigning registrants to a team. Once you have people who have registered, all unassigned members will show up right here, and very simply you can take a member, drag and drop him right onto a team, and that player will be assigned to that team. Notice that number went up from 5 to 6 right here, indicating the number of players that are actually registered on that program or within that team. And in the registration program, that's pretty much the registration program in a nutshell there. In the interest of time, what we will do is move on to any questions that might have been asked during the presentation.
Yeah,
Mark?
Randy, I have a question here from Betty asking about any interaction with cybersport.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And thank you, Betty, for asking that. Once your members have registered, and especially if you require them to enter their USA Hockey number, We do have various reports for cybersport that are pre-created, if you will. From the members section of our site, and this is, again, a major control hub for your program, where you can create various reports and even send email out to really any group or subgroup within your program. One of the things that you want to do here is just set your report type to cybersport, export. If you've already required the confirmation numbers to be captured, you'd select the report that says cybersport with confirmation numbers, as you can see that I'm selecting here. You'll also want to select the teams that these players are assigned to. You'll want to do this after they've been assigned to teams, because that's how you're going to specify whether they are players, coaches, what have you, which cybersport does require. We'll set the member type here, and then we'll, just for our purposes, select one team here, which is our Dublin team. You'll go ahead and click Find Members, and the report that will be produced is, in this particular case, a spreadsheet report that just contains the player's USA Hockey number, or the USA Hockey confirmation number, and their position, whether they are a player. You'd see P for player, C for coach, and I believe there is another designation for a manager, which I believe is M, or A for adult. This file can be saved and then automatically imported into cybersport. And that's really all you'll need. cybersport can pull all the information that's necessary right from the USA Hockey confirmation number, and you've assigned them their position here. And actually, I see Betty has corrected me. M for manager, V for volunteer. Thank you very much, Betty. Those are the designations, and we do have those available in the program. It just escaped me at this particular moment. But thank you for correcting me there.
So then Matt had a question about the direct link for the registration program, essentially the link that you'd use for invitations. And yes. I just wanted to know, what that could be used for, or what the direct link was actually for in the registration program.
Okay. There's a couple of different things you can use the direct link for here. For example, if you've decided to make your registration an invite-only registration, which essentially means that it's active but not displayed on the registration page. It's not visible to the general public. You can include this direct link in an email to targeted individuals. For example, if you wanted to open your registration early but only offer it to players who were on certain teams last year, well, now you can do that with this direct link. You can leave it active as an invite only, but send them this direct link. This way, the general public, just a regular visitor to your site, will not see the registration. However, your members will be able to access it through this link that you've sent to them in an email. Another useful tool for this, and this works specifically for hockey programs that may be doing tryouts for travel programs. Quite frequently, you'll do the tryouts, and you'll have the tryouts that are open to the general public on your site. A lot of hockey programs will choose to create a second registration program for those members who have been accepted and placed onto a certain team. That registration, they may choose to have it as a closed registration. Again, not something that's visible just to any visitor to your website. That would be another perfect use for this direct link option here. Being able to just include that direct link in an email to those targeted individuals, they can access the registration directly from that link and be able to register while the general public cannot. Also, if you wanted to lock that down even further, you can include some email addresses in here that will only allow, and the registration system will only allow people whose email address appears in this area, or that's been entered into this area, to register for the program.
Great.
All right.
Okay. Well, I don't have any more questions here. If anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and enter them in that question box in the GoToMeeting panel.
Well, while we have some time here, since we do have a few newbies that are attending the webinar here, maybe we should take a moment to explain some cost-saving benefits of our registration program over some of our competition.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. With the League Athletics registration system, the only thing that you're paying League Athletics for is an annual fee that's based on the number of teams that you have within your program. For example, if you have under 10 teams, you're going to pay an annual fee of $450. There is a one-time startup fee of $200 for the first year. But the only thing that you're paying as an ongoing fee is an annual fee of $450. One thing that League Athletics does not have and does not charge, like many of the other online registration companies that are out there, is that we don't require a per registration fee to be charged for you. And I think that's a very important difference for of the League Athletics system as opposed to many of our competitors that are out there. With a lot of the competition that you may see, they will charge you a per registrant fee, which may be somewhere between $2 to $3 per program, or per registration, I should say. Or what they'll do is combine their per registration fee with the cost of credit card processing. So rather than paying 2 to 3% for credit card processing, they may charge you an upwards of 6.5%, almost 7% for credit card charges. Some programs do both, where they'll charge an exorbitant per transaction credit card fee and also charge a per registrant fee. With LeagueAthletics.com, the only fee that you're paying to League Athletics is, again, that annual fee. Once you've paid that annual fee, you can use the online registration system however you choose to. You can accept registrations for your traditional winter programs. You can choose to accept online registrations for any camps or preseason clinics that you may have. If you have summer programs, summer skating programs, you can choose to use the online registration for that. We encourage you to use the online registration program for as much as you possibly can. As far as collecting credit cards, what the League Athletics system requires is that you have either your own merchant account or your own PayPal account to process those credit card payments. We take care of the processing in our secure credit card center, but we do require you to have your own account. And that is a huge plus for you because your processing fees are kept to a minimum, and you also never lose control of your funds. You don't have to wait for your funds. Generally speaking, within 1 to 2 business days of the registration being processed online, your funds are deposited into your checking account. So again, the LeagueAthletics.com system will save you money, as well as being a much more efficient system than really any other program that's out there.
Yeah, not to mention all the additional tools and features that are included in that. The scheduling components, facilities, and email and text as well. So thanks for that.
Absolutely.
I had a
Absolutely.
question here from Lynn about how she might charge somebody for a jersey or some other item during the registration process, perhaps in a supplemental question, and then add that to the cost of the registration.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are a number of different ways you can do that. With almost all of our question types, and I'll just select one of the ones that we have here. Let's go with the jersey size question that has been created on this form here. And we'll just go and edit that. With almost all of our question types, you can add an additional fee to the cost of registration, or to one of the choices that have been made. So for example, within this drop-down selection, you'll notice that you can enter your choices right here, one per line. So you enter small, medium, large, extra large. For our purposes, let's say we are just going to charge an additional fee for the extra large jersey. By simply entering this little piece right here for a drop-down, you've now told the registration system that if someone selects extra large, it's now going to add $20 onto the cost of their registration. Very simple, very easy to do. You can do that with drop-down questions. It's also rather simple to do with, say, for example, something like a checkbox or a radio button. When you create a radio button question or a checkbox, very simply, there's an entry there that says cost. And that cost, once that selection has been made, will now be added to the cost of registration. Okay?
Okay, great. Okay, and then here's another one from Ursula. Can you change the parameters for a registration after some registrations have been received, i.e. changing the cost or adding or removing a field of some type?
You absolutely can. You can certainly add an additional field at any point during the registration. Obviously, those members who have previously registered, they'll have to log back into the registration system to answer that question. You can also delete a field. Now, keep it in mind that if you delete the question, you're also deleting any responses that have been associated with it. So by all means, you can do that with regards to the questions. With regards to payment, what you can do with payments, if you happen to change the cost of registration midstream, you started with your registration open for $600 and you were able to gather a little bit of additional ICE time, and now that registration is going to be $750. What you can do, very simply, you can go into the registration system and change the base cost to $750. Once that's been changed, you really have two choices for people who have been registered. You can have them go back in and edit their registration, and that way they can pay whatever the difference happens to be. Or you as an administrator can edit their registration for them. You can do that right from the list report. You can go in and click edit on their registration and simply resubmit it. And when you resubmit it, it'll recalculate at whatever the current cost is. Also in this area, you can manually enter a cost as well. So if you have somebody who is a scholarship player or a hardship case, you can go in and manually enter a fee here as well. All right.
Okay, great. And then second question here from Ursula was, is there a way to accept donations on the supplemental form during registration?
I thank you, Ursula, for asking these great questions here. Absolutely, you can. As we were creating the supplemental form, you can add a text question. And we'll simply do this right here for you. We'll go ahead and add a text question. We'll just select text, which is selected here. Go ahead and click continue. We're going to name the question donation. Type in a prompt, which is what the user is going to see. We won't be that formal for our prompt here. Once you've typed in the prompt, on text questions, you can determine how the response to the text question is handled. You can have it just be regular free-form text, or for our case right here, you can select that it's a cost item to be added to the form total. By selecting that choice, the system's going to require the user enter a numeric value, and whatever that numeric value is, it will be added to the total cost of the registration. So if the user wanted to donate $100, very simply in this field, they'd enter 100, and when they submit, $100 additional will be charged to the cost of the registration. While we're also in this field, you can see that you can require that the response, in addition to being a cost item, you can have it formatted as a date. You can have it formatted as just a numeric value. You can, as Mark showed on the registration section, you can have it as a discount code. Also, say for example you were selling raffle tickets, or you were selling banquet tickets for the end of the season. You can select that it's a quantity that is multiplied by a cost that's specified here. So you can ask them how many tickets they want. They enter 5, and that'll be multiplied by whatever cost you enter here. As you can see, the system can do quite a bit with the supplemental questions. It is a very robust tool for creating your additional questions here. I'm just going to go ahead and do that and then preview the form really quickly for you. And now you can see down at the bottom, you have your donation question, and you just enter your amount.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Randy.
Mark, next question?
Yeah, I had a question here from Matt that I think I can answer for him. He had a question about setting up special payment plans for individuals.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't be able to necessarily manage that within the system, and well, you could, but you'd have to manage that on an individual basis for each person, essentially.
Right.
Do you want to speak more to that, Randy?
Yeah, I would say one of the things that the system does, it does allow you to create, and we had mentioned this during the process, you can create a payment schedule for the entire program. Meaning everybody is on the same schedule. X amount is due at a specified date. Another amount is due on another specified date. Really kind of the goal for the registration system is that it works for the masses, for lack of a better term. You want it to work for 99% of your registrants. If you do have one registrant that is that requires a special payment arrangement, you can manually control that person, but you would have to have some manual interaction with that. You may even want them to I hate to say the dreaded pay offline, but you may want to have them hand you a check if it is something that is a very special payment arrangement. And you can manage that within the site here.
Okay, great.
All right. Any further questions there, Mark?
Just another one from Ursula here. If you want to email members, is that part of the registration program? Or perhaps show Ursula how you could email people from the registration system.
Okay. There are a couple of different ways that you can email your members. Right from the list report that we showed previously, I'll just bring that up here. There are a number of tools that you can use within this area, within this report, I should say. So, for example, if I wanted to register everybody or email everyone who is registered in this program, I can very simply select all, and then I have a Choose Action button here. From this Choose Action area, I can choose to email checked people. Also, some other tools that you can do from this area is very simply remove people from the wait list, update an entire program that's paid. Also, you can transfer registrations from this area. That can come in handy if you have a kid who might be super talented and is playing up a level. You may have him register for one program and then transfer him to his age-appropriate program. But for Ursula's question, you can very simply and easily email the checked recipients right from here. I'll click Go. And that'll bring to you an email form that you can very simply populate name, address, or name your reply to email address and your content here. You can even choose to add attachments right here as well. One other area, and I want to show you this for emailing. You can do that right from what we call our members area. Very simply select email members, and this may give you a little bit more control over who you can actually send emails to, not just during the registration period but also during your season. You can send emails to really anybody who fits any criteria specified on this page. So I can send an email to kids who are on a particular team. I can send an email to kids who are registered in specific programs. I can even go further and say I want to send an email to all of the coaches for all of my selected teams. And then I don't think we have any coaches that we've set up here, Mark.
I'm not sure if I have any coaches set up there.
So we'll just say I want to select everybody who's on the team, and then just go ahead and find members. And again, an email form very similar to what you saw on the previous screen will come up here, allowing you to send email to that particular team there. Now, Mark, do we have a lot of questions there? Because I would like to point out some other communication tools that we have as well.
We have just one other question that we can address for the registration program, and that's about moving a payment from one person to the other. Greg is essentially asking, what if somebody registers with a credit card, they withdraw, and then they want to register perhaps another child or something? Can they just move that payment over to somebody else?
You can't move that payment over to someone else. Well, I shouldn't say that. You can manually apply a payment. Just like I showed you for registering a check or for entering a check payment. Right from the registration list, you can very simply and easily click this Add Payment icon. So if someone was set at a zero cost, you can add an amount. We have an area here for check number. However, you could put a little note here. Just say from brother or something like that. And then go ahead and click Submit there. You'd have to manually apply a payment from one sibling to another because the actual payment is attached to that registration that it was originally paid for.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, yeah, I don't have any other questions if you want to go ahead, Randy.
Okay. Just one quick mention of some other communication tools that we have. And these communication tools are associated with schedules. So, for example, you have a team that has players that are assigned to it, and you also have a schedule for that team. One of the notifications that we have, and many of you may be aware of this already, is our reminder notifications. This is usually something that's set so that users can opt in to receive them. And prior to an event, actually a day and a half prior to an event, they will receive an email reminder letting them know that they have a game or a practice. If they've chosen to receive text messages, approximately 2.5 hours prior to the event, they'll receive a last chance text reminder letting them know that they have a, again, practice or a game event. These can be set up for both the players and also for the parents. The text reminders come in handy for those of us who work during the day and want to catch one of our child's games that may be in the afternoon. So we'll get that last chance text reminder letting us know that we can, scoot out of work a little bit early so we can see our kid on the ice. Also, another reminder or another notification that's available is schedule change notifications. These are an invaluable tool for the majority of our clients. If the game has been canceled or if it's been changed, time change, venue change, date change, which happens so frequently with hockey, you can simply go in to the system, make that change, and automatically a notification will be sent to all affected members, players, parents, coaches, officials if you have them scheduled to a game, and letting them know what that schedule change is, either that the game's been canceled or that there's just been a time or a venue change. Again, they can receive that at a minimum via email, but if they've opted in for text messaging, they can also receive it via text message as well. Those are two invaluable tools that we offer for our clients right now. Really helps them run their organization from more than just a registration standpoint, but an entire administration tool as well. Okay, Mark, do we have any further questions there?
No, I think we're, let's see here. Okay, so actually, here's a good one from Ursula. She asks, you showed the ability...
Ursula's going to be our superstar for the night, huh?
Hey, yeah, absolutely. She's going to be a pro before long. So we had the ability to upload some photos during the registration process. She just wants to know where they're used or how they would be used.
Okay. For a couple of different things here. First off, when you view the member information, notice that Mark took the liberty of uploading Notre Dame great coach Lou Holtz here. This isn't really how Mark looks. Mark's actually a little bit older than this gentleman. But you can see it right on the member information screen here. Where you can also use that is in a tool that we have associated with the registration called a bio sheet. The bio sheet can be used in a number of different areas. Basically, it's a report. It's an individual report from the registration information that's been given. You can use that for maybe some of the older programs as a recruiting tool, which can be available from the team rosters. It can also be something for programs that require that a piece of paper still be held. You can create this bio sheet right from here. We have a pre-created bio sheet available within all of the sites that, again, by default contains all of the registration data. What I'm going to do here is just run this bio sheet. Oh, maybe we won't do that. Let's see here. Do we have another one that's created here?
I don't know if I have another bio sheet in there.
Okay. There might be some information that we have here that we didn't give. But essentially what it will do, it'll create a formatted sheet that can contain all of the information given during registration and also include a picture of the registration here. You know, for our purposes right there, unfortunately, we don't have time to troubleshoot what we did wrong there.
I think it might have been those demo people that you added prior.
Yeah, that might be it too. Excuse me. But it can very simply just create a sheet for use either on the roster or for administration use here.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Well, thanks, Randy. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add regarding the registration program or anything else?
Not really, no. Just you know, I wanted to encourage people who are using our registration program. Number one, we do have some video tutorials that are available, and also we encourage you to use your online support tools as well. If you have any questions, if you just need a suggestion, we are available for you. We always say we can't help if we're not asked. So we do encourage you to, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the online support tools that we have here. And for those of you who may be unfamiliar with the system, in the admin section of your site, there's an area that is dedicated specifically to support. You can very simply select technical support and go ahead and submit a new support ticket. And we pride ourselves in having a very fast response time on our support tickets. For those of us who, or for those of you who have used us in the past, I think you can attest to that. We really take pride in our support, making sure that it's not just a fast turnaround, but that you do get help properly. And Mark, on to you.
Okay. No, I just want to thank everybody for spending some time with us this evening and hearing us ramble on. But hopefully we provided some valuable information about setting up your registration programs. And as Randy said, you're probably not going to retain everything that was discussed here. So if you do have questions, please use our support channels. And we'll also, we're recording this session, so we'll make it available to those who registered for the session as well. So with all that said, I just want to say thanks once again and have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you all for attending.
Thanks.